we're going to finish 2 chapters today. So this will be 1.4. There you go. So this will be 1.4. Oh. Come on, man. Oh, is it? Oh, come on. Is it because this? Now it should work. Yeah, once this Wi-Fi comes on Thursday, like right now, I have to, you know, use look at her face. I mean, pretty simple, right? But then we can do examples actually. How many are there? 15. Yeah, yeah. I feel good. I feel good. Strong. Try to finish like half of it. Hopefully, we try to finish half of it. Is at 1:44 p. As long as we're streaming. Let's actually do this. like I understood. I understood this. I understood the section. I understood. I understood. But can we do like three examples for this specific section so that students can understand that students can understand better. Let's do three real life examples based on the abstract. Based on, actually, I didn't copy the abstract. Oh, wait, 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 wait. Could you change it again? Could you change it again? This time with. Oh, okay. With this abstract. Please, could you change the latex code again? This time, okay, you know what? Wait, let me copy it again. Let me copy it again. I made a mistake, right? Is it possible? Okay, wait, no, close. Based on what you read and understand, how many chapters are there? How many sections are there? Sections are there for this pasted text? Can you write a latex code? Can you write a latex code for this for the 15 course sections based on this abstract and explain the 15 course sections based on the abstract, if that is possible? once this Wi-Fi comes, all right, really good explanation. Now I understood what that is. Is it possible to explain like slowly, in detail, but easy? Is it possible to explain this section slowly, like easy, yeah, in detail, but like to a point where if I read, I understand, and use like 3 examples to explain, to explain this specific section. Let him finish, then I'm going to say convert it to latex code, and I'm going to read from the latex code. Now convert what you just explained. Now convert what you just explained for section 1 into latex code. I mean, I understand how to like write latex code, but to fully memorize how to code in latex, I can't do that. Sadly. But I have to read anyways. So the core idea behind this section is simple. So it shows how powerful is the steering system. So adaptive rocket guidance system continuously experiences disturbances during flight. For example, you have the wind gust, you have the thrust uncertainty, you have the aerodynamic disturbances, you have the trajectory deviation. The steering system must therefore generate strong enough corrective motion to restore the stable flight. So suppose the steering surface moves slightly. So the steering deflection is represented by curl E, which may represent fin deflection, which may represent the elevator motion, which may represent the aerodynamic steering surface. Small steering motion changes airflow around the rocket, and this airflow modification produces additional lift, additional aerodynamic force, and additional pitching moment. And the control derivative CL measures how much lift changes because of steering deflection, meaning how strongly steering motion changes lift. Okay, stop. I need to. This is lesson 5. So, core idea behind elevator control power. So, step 1, core idea behind elevator control power. We want to observe how powerful is the steering system. So, the control power wants to observe, the control power wants to observe how powerful is the steering system. Control power wants to observe how powerful is the steering system. So any rocket guys, any air vehicles like rocket or airplane or whatever, they can explain wind gust, they can explain thrust uncertainty, they can explain any disturbance that mostly occurs in the wind, like in air, right? So any aerodynamic vehicle will experience wind gusts, experience thrust uncertainty, you're gonna have aerodynamic disturbance, you're also going to have trajectory deviation. Now, all those, because you're going to have this wind gusts, you're going to have thrust uncertainty, you're going to have aerodynamic disturbance, all those air disturbance that's going to, like, it's going to deviate from its original trajectory to a deviated trajectory. So we want to implement. So the main aim here. Implement strong steering system that is strong enough to, like, to have a stability, like, as in create enough strength for the steering system to keep the air, like the rocket or the airplane, stable. To keep the rocket or airplane stable. So understanding the steering input, so suppose the steering surface moves slightly. So steering deflection is represented by curl E. It can represent the fin deflection, it can represent the elevator motion, it can represent any motion. So any motion like fin or elevator, aerodynamic steering surface. Okay, so there's the steering deflection. Small steering motion changes the airflow around the rocket, and this airflow modification will produce additional lift, additional aerodynamic force, additional pitching moment. Okay. So understanding steering input. So curl E, which is the steering deflection. Deflection will represent fin deflection, elevator motion, aerodynamic surface motion, right? And these steering deflections will create additional lift. It's going to create additional aerodynamic force. And it's going to create additional pitching moment. So fin deflection will create additional lift, like, in a sense, because if the fin, let's say for example, the fin is straight, and if it moves towards the left to keep that stable, you'd have, so let's say for example, if it moves towards the left, in a sense, if you were to look at a rocket like this, if the fin moves towards the left, it's going to create like topple over, and so when you thrust, yeah, it's going to deflect, but when you have more thrust, the stability decreases because you must understand pressure is not here. Moment is here. My bad. Moment is here. When you have thrust as compared to the deflection of the force, the deflection of the fin, because it's going to change direction. The fin doesn't topple over. Fin just changes the direction so that it creates either more air or less air. If suddenly, like, fin can go like that because the air wind is always uncertain. The fin can move like that, and you're gonna have less air. But to keep it more stable, you need more energy, right? To opposite, like equal and opposite. If you have like fin deflection, like blocking more air, so that which leads to the rocket not being able to fly, or there's not much power, so the rocket cannot fly upward. Then you need thrust in order to equate the fin that are covering that air to allow that rocket to fly up, right? And control derivative measures how much lift changes because of steering deflection. Physically, this means how strongly steering motion changes lift. We control effectiveness. Suppose steering surface deflects, curl E by 2 degrees. However, aerodynamic lift changes only slightly. So del L is 20 newtons. This means the rocket has weak control effectiveness. Trajectory correction becomes slow. What does this mean? Suppose steering surface deflects, curl E to 2 degrees. However, the lift only changes by 20 newtons, so that is less. That is less because the lift only changes by 20 newtons. So even with, degrees change, on some cases, on rare cases, I'll say, on rare cases, it's not going to affect much. But if you have hypersonic, like the missiles or hypersonic rockets, or rockets where even a change in angle will cause the entire mission to go poof, like aborted, it is dangerous. Now on top of that, you also have force, only 20 newtons. So the change in aerodynamic lift is only 20 newtons, which is not much in comparison to the angle change. Because that's like saying your fin covers the air, allow the rocket to fly up, but you're only outputting 20 newtons of aerodynamic lift. So it's not only going to go up, it's not only going to go up, it's like giving up. Like the rocket will just give up. It's like there's no motivation for the rocket to even go up, right? So it is going to come crashing down because because fin changes at a certain angle, right? So if the fin changes at 2 degrees, but you're lifting only at 20 newtons, that's like gone. It's going to go down. The example 1. Suppose the steering surface deflects, curl E is 2 degrees. Suppose steering deflects, curl E is equal to 2 degrees. However, aerodynamic lift is only 20 newtons, meaning the change in aerodynamic lift, del L, 20 newtons, meaning this is dangerous. So this, I'm just going to directly jump onto the code. This is dangerous, whether small error or large error or not. This is dangerous. Why? Because, for example, if I have fins for the rocket that tilts degrees, like 2 degrees to a point where it blocks the airflow. Airflow not from down, but airflow from up. Blocks airflow while going up. Having only 20 newtons, like that aerodynamic lift of 20 newtons, means you're not generating enough power in ratio to the amount of air that's been blocked for the rocket to lift up, right? Generating only 20 newtons. So generating only 20 newtons means the rocket isn't motivated enough to go up. The rocket is not motivated enough to go up. So it's going to come crashing down. will come crashing down. The physical interpretation, small steering input produces only small aerodynamic correction. So obviously, because the input is only 20 newtons, which is, I don't even want to consider that being as a small steering input because it is dangerous. Like in most cases, if you consider the degree change being as large, it's much safer. Only then it's going to actually operate better. In some cases, you don't need it, but you never know. You never know. So the control derivative measures how strongly steering deflection generates rotational correction. Additional lift acts away from the center of gravity. This produces pitching moment. So strong pitch correction, suppose steering surface deflects downwards. Additional tail lift appears. The tail force generates restoring pitching moment above the center of gravity. Okay, what? I don't understand. Change my table.